Welcome to Tansson TV Plus. As always, I'm Brandon.
And I'm Mom. We thank you for joining us today. We're once more talking about our superheroes. And today we're going to talk about the greatest American hero.
Yes, such a fitting show to end out our superhero discussions for this month. And Mom, I hope you're doing well, and we can dive right into it.
Yes, I'm doing fine. Thank you, Brandon. But yes, I will say this about the greatest American hero, and I'll let you give a little history about the show. But the greatest American hero is one of those shows that people don't say that they watch, but they have watched. And so came out in '81. And Brandon, I'll let you give a little bit of history.
Yes, so the series did come out in 1981. It lasted for I believe 3 seasons, and so it had 45 episodes with 5 unaired. I believe that's the 5 unaired episodes are included within the 45, and so but we're discussing the pilot episode, which was actually, I should say, a pilot movie, which now consists of the first 2 episodes of the series.
Yes, and at the beginning of the series, just to give everyone a little background about the series itself, a gentleman by the name of Ralph Hinckley, he he is actually a, I don't want to say substitute, he's a special education teacher, and so he decides to take his class out one evening, and they go on a field trip. While on the field trip, they meet a gentleman named a gentleman who's an FBI agent, and then they run into this FBI, and then while he's out with the children, their bus breaks down, and so Ralph needs to go and find some help. And as in a way, when he goes to find some help, he actually sees the FBI agent again. Um, while together, a flying saucer comes. That's the best way I could say it. Um, and then he is given the message through the radio that he is to help people, and he's been given this suit, and that he has to wear it, and that the FBI agent is someone who's supposed to help him in the way of helping the world per se. And so he's told to follow the directions of the suit. When they get back, when the aliens leave, of course the FBI agents, they're both kind of freaked out anyway. The FBI agent says he's kind of on his own. Ralph grabs the suit, he leaves to go back to the children, and these are teenage children, just so you know. And so he goes back to the teenagers, but he loses the directions to the suit. But when he goes home later on that evening, he does put the suit on, and he later finds out that this suit actually does have some sort of power and gives him some sort of superhero strength and power and things like that. So basically, that's the essence of the show. So we have a special education teacher who is also a superhero.
Well, isn't it the obvious suspect for who should be a superhero?
It is the obvious suspect, and of course, the FBI agent is there just to kind of help out a little bit when the law needs to be included.
Yeah, and I should note that the alien said too that this should be a partnership between them, between both, Bill Maxwell, the FBI agent, and Ralph Hinckley, the teacher.
Yes, and just so you guys know that there was a whole other plot that kind of went along with this, but this was just the essence, so you know the concept of the show.
Yeah, and to give a little bit of background into the other plot that was going on, I guess there was a terrorist organization, sort of. I'm not entirely sure what they were per se doing with that. I couldn't really follow that storyline, but I understood the story with Ralph and Bill Maxwell, but just not really the bad guys per se.
Yeah, that was it was a little odd and a little bit of a stretch there. But just so the audience knows, for the other, there is a plot line or subplot going on, and that has to do with Ralph and his personal life. Ralph does have a child, and he has a son, and he also has a girlfriend, and he's in the midst of getting a divorce or fighting for custody of his son at the same time period. And so at this time, he does have custody of his son, and the girlfriend happens to be a lawyer who is helping him with the custody case.
Yeah, and I think that's a large basis of this pilot movie, and I think to also humanize Ralph as a character. However, I don't think we really get any resolution as to that plot line of the movie, even though it's sort of the driving force of the movie and I guess the series.
Yeah, you're very correct. We really don't get a lot of resolution to that. We just know that he is apparently speaking to his ex-wife, but we do know that he has, the for the most part, custody of his son. I think we see in the series later his ex-wife maybe once, but it's not something that's emphasized. And I think later on in the series, the son kind of his role diminishes a little much later in the series, but they do keep the girlfriend around, and so and she does play a major part in his escapades as the greatest American hero.
Yeah, and overall, like, what would you say, in your opinion, makes Ralph so special as a hero?
I think because he's just a normal person, he seems to want to do right by the world. He says he wants to help these children that he's working with in the school. The children in the school do eventually play a larger part, but he does want to help and do better with the students at the high school where he's working at, and so he just happens to have this other job on the side. And I think the sense of humor between him and Bill, the FBI agent, is really great.
Yeah, definitely. And I will say that, yeah, I really like, well, of course, Ralph. I really enjoy him as a character, but I also really like Bill Maxwell as well because I feel like he's very humorous in how he is portrayed, especially later in the series, and just sort of his mannerisms, especially within the theme song.
Yeah, it is really funny, and you're right. The watching them together, they do a really nice job of creating this relationship between both of them.
Yeah. Now, I will say that, I noticed that within the description of the movie that, yeah, that it said that there was, I guess, major cultural differences, between the two characters, and it was implied within the movie, which, in all honesty, I didn't know, through my sort of initial watch of the series. I haven't seen the whole series, but I know you watched it during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yes, this was my entertainment during COVID. No, I didn't really notice anything. I don't know if they more so meant the political part. Just speaking in general terms, they do bring up politics in a very and you know off way throughout in and out of the series. So I don't know if that's what they meant by cultural differences having to do with the politics that kind of takes place during the series. But you can actually watch the show and not really go into that part of it and just kind of watch it for the plot itself because you do know who the good and bad people are by just kind of watching the episodes.
Yeah, and again, like I said, I didn't even notice, during my initial view, but going into it, so I will say that watching this TV movie, which again, this is the first time I have seen it all the way through, is that it gave me a really good appreciation of, like I said, the attorney Pam, because I didn't really know or understand her character, in my initial viewing, but I will say that this movie makes me understand her character a bit more, and so I would like to, see some future episodes again and sort of see, I mean, her character.
Yes, yeah. She does a really nice job of kind of bringing things together, and they kind of do a good job of having their relationship kind of come together a little bit later. And then you could tell that the series itself, in regards to his powers, that they were kind of stretching and probably not sure of what they wanted to do with it, because he has powers that kind of come out in later episodes that you wouldn't know. But of course, since he's lost the instruction manual, they can kind of make things up as they want to.
Yeah, and I do remember that from from our initial viewing, a few years ago, that you had to actually, I believe, go back to this episode because you forgot about the instruction manual part.
Yeah, I really did forget about the instruction manual part. I had to go back and watch that section. You do see it slip out, and it's a huge book, so it's not like a tiny little sheet of paper. It's a huge book that falls out. And so when you and I watched it, we wanted to know why he didn't hear the thump for the booklet that came out.
Yeah, it certainly was a very loud thump, but yeah, but what are your thoughts about Ralph as a teacher? 'Cause we see quite a bit of his teaching, within within this little movie.
Yeah, we do see it. I think some would say unorthodox. That's the best way I can kind of describe him. But you do can tell that he does bond with the kids, and you got to keep in mind the time period. This is the early '80s, and things have changed so much since that time period. Um, but you could tell that he's trying to create this relationship with the students. And I think he does. And later, like I said, later in the series, he does create a relationship with the students. They even end up in a theme song later.
Yeah, and you can see that he's trying to gain the students' respect. Although I do find it a bit interesting that he's able to have a field trip with them in the middle of the night to a random desert on like a few hours' notice.
Yeah, like I said, times have changed. So it's a yes, that was interesting when he just kind of came up and said, "Oh, we're going out today. Let's go take the bus." And there, he was the only. There was not another adult there. He was the only one there.
Yeah, and like I said, that's just one of the few things that we notice as kind of peculiar. Also, Bill showing up to the school. Ralph teaches that very drunk and in the bathroom, which definitely will not be allowed now, or probably not even then for that matter.
Yeah, yeah. There's, like I said, interesting relationship between them.
Yeah. Uh, and I think another note that we noticed too is that one of the students, yeah, they had implied that she might be willing to rejoin school, and we didn't even realize she had dropped out.
Yeah, she was a student at the beginning, and then toward the end, all of a sudden, she has dropped out of school. So yes, so we I thought that was very odd, and how they kind of did, and maybe I just missed the line where they said she dropped out.
But yeah, but overall, Mom, would you watch the series again?
Well, I have seen it. I watched it at one time. I wouldn't watch every episode again, but there are certain episodes I kind of amused by, and so I have seen this first episode. As I kind of told you, like 2 or 3 times, because I did have to rewatch for certain parts that I wasn't quite getting when I watched it a little later, and so. Yes, I would watch it. I'm probably one of the few people out there, but I know there's a small group of us who like the series.
Yeah, and I will say too that having gone through this before we even watched it, I was just like, it's like there's no way I can say that I would continue watch it. I mean, just after the movie, but sure enough, after having watched the full thing all the way through, yes, I would continue watching. Probably not all the episodes like you said, but yeah, I think this TV movie has really won me over, and so yeah, I look forward to sort of seeing what Ralph and Bill were able to do, and Pam, for the rest of the series. But I know, here we do get not the regular theme song, but we do get introduced to the theme music and the song in different variations.
Yeah, I will say this for me was one of there are very few shows that are very effective of incorporating a theme song in the middle of the show. And I thought they did a really great job because they hit for the song all the way through. And then at the end, when he's flying, of course, he's a superhero, so he's got to fly. So, but at the end, when he's flying and they have the theme song kind of going with it, it made a lot of sense. And I really like the way they incorporated it. And of course, during the next episode, the regular theme song played, but and it was of course the longer version when we saw it then. But I really liked the way the theme song was incorporated within the first episode.
Yeah, believe it or not, I quite enjoyed it.
Yes, yes. Well, he was, walking on air. So yes,
But yeah, and so of course, as we mentioned at the very beginning, this brings and into our superhero month. And so, Mom, like, what were some of your thoughts overall about doing this, here and there throughout this half of July?
well, I was surprised that, like I said, I enjoyed some of the superhero shows. I was surprised that I, I was really surprised at the ones I really did like. Like I said, Shield. I was not expecting to like the first episode of Shield, and so the audience knows I've made it to episode 2 of Shield, and so it was nice watching Shield. Batman was, I thought. It didn't seem to take as long to watch as I thought it would. I was very pained to think that I was going to watch 2 episodes, but the episodes itself were not that bad to watch. Um, and so I've enjoyed this theme, Brandon. I've enjoyed it more than I thought. And then, of course, when I look online, I see more shows that we could have looked at also. So hopefully the audience enjoyed it. Please let us know in the comments. What shows would you have chosen?
Yeah, I definitely have really enjoyed this as well, and I didn't expect to get this much enjoyment from, I mean, from this theme. Like I said, I mean, I've seen bits and pieces of Greatest American Hero. I never really thought I'd enjoy it this much. I've seen, of course, I'm very familiar with the concept of Batman and Wonder Woman, but seeing both of them, I thought brought a new light to it. Which a little connection is that. Uh, in this episode of Greatest American Hero is that Ralph's son is watching morning cartoons, and we see Batman and Wonder Woman in it.
We sure do. We sure do. And I thought that was fun to watch to see the connection kind of come all together there.
Yeah, it really was, and so it was really fun being able to do this. And as one last note for connection is that in doing the research is that the producer for the series, Stephen J. Cannell, had reached out to executives at ABC to make sure that the show can remain, a adult show, but Ralph is a character that yeah that makes sure that he can help local issues, and being able to maybe not save the world in every episode, but those executives were Tom Warner and Marcy Carsey, who made the Carsey Warner Company in the same week actually of this episode.
Oh, wow. That's amazing, Brandon.
Yeah, and the connection lies in that that company had produced a series such as Roseanne in a Different World. So it's interesting to see the little connections there. But like I said, I really have enjoyed this time, and I definitely hope that we're able to incorporate some of these shows in the future.
Yep, I hope so too, Brandon. So we'll have to see what August theme is going to be.
Yes, we will. And also, we want to say a massive thank you, for all of our new viewers who have been tuning in.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for tuning in for us. Please make sure you like and subscribe as you watch the videos.
Yeah, it definitely does help, with the support. But Mom, like I said, I always enjoy doing this with you, and I think that's just a great way for us to kick off this new channel.
Yep, it really is. Thank you guys for watching us.
And we'll see you next time.
All right, have a great day, everyone. Bye bye.